Look at this Pacific black duck coming into land. It is just majestic. Sure, a beautiful sunset in landscape photography, the Milky Way rising up into the heavens just looks fabulous. But there is something special about wildlife photography, and this is why it is so addictive. And that is because, one, it is very unpredictable. Two, the more you get into wildlife photography and the more you start learning about the type of wildlife that you're photographing. For me, most of that time are birds. But I do like photographing other types of wildlife. You mightn't see that too much on my YouTube channel because it's just a photo here, a photo there, but that doesn't mean that it doesn't mean has much to me. Has a whole video on, let's say, when I go to Lake Eden and photograph quite a few different birds, because it still takes my interest. And over the years, I've learned the behaviors of so many birds and lizards, marsupials. It's built up this data bank in my mind that it's not that I can predict what they're going to do, but I've got a very good idea when they start behaving a certain way. And also sometimes it's the way they behave. It just makes you laugh inside because a lot of time it's very relatable to us as humans. Now look at this wasp here. This was just taken in my backyard here. The reason I'm showing these first few photos is that a lot of people think that to really get into wildlife photography, you need to have great gear. Now this wasp photo here shows you that you don't need the best of gear to photograph wildlife. This wasp was taken quite a few years ago just on my veranda here with the Nikon D7500 and the Nikon 18-140mm, which was the kit lens that came with it. Today I'm just going to talk about the addictiveness of photographing wildlife. Now look at this picture here of a blue-tongued lizard, up close and personal. I like blue-tongued lizards. We used to have a family of blue-tongued lizards where my parents lived, and we watched year after year the parents, and after a while we got to know that, okay, well, this is the time of the year where we're going to see the young around, and we'd see the young come out. They'd be quite small, and we'd see them grow up, and then, like humans, move out of the house, and only the parents would be left behind. Now take a look at this osprey and this juvenile sea eagle. The osprey is very upset. Look how small it is compared to this eagle. You'd think that, well, I'm so small, I'm not going to take on a predator that is bigger than me. Their nest is only about 150 meters away. They have chicks there, so they are protecting their space, just like us. Imagine if somebody comes into your yard, they could be huge. You're still going to go out there and defend your property, defend your home, defend your young. That is what this osprey does. And this is why I like wildlife photography. You never know what's going to happen. Take a look at these two water dragons. You have the male water dragon on the left, you have the female water dragon on the right. I can see both of them. The male can only see the top part of the female, and it looks like the female is half hiding from the male. I'm a bit unsure about, is this the right male water dragon that I have to mate with? A bit like us sometimes, you know. Us males, like, you know, we go up and we want to chat up to a girl and the girl sort of stands back and looks us up and down thinking like, is he my type? Well, this female water dragon, very similar. So it just cracked me up. Here's another photo of why I feel that wildlife photography is addictive to me. Also addictive to a lot of other people because we see nature come to life. Sunsets, sunrises, the Milky Way in the sky. It's all nice, but a lot of time it is very predictable. If I go to Scarborough Harbour, I know there's going to be boats in the harbour. I know where the sun's going to set. It could be a good or a bad sunset. All I have to do is hope that at sunset I have great weather conditions. Wildlife, though, on the other hand, you never know. I could go to Lake Eden every single day for a week. I'm pretty sure that I'm going to see some different birds. The staple birds like egrets, ducks, they're going to be there. But sometimes we get very unusual birds there. So it's like the chase. Are we going to get a different bird? This becomes addictive because the more you go out, the more you say like, what am I going to photograph today? There's always that hope. There's always that excitement within us that says, wow, today could be a great day. Look at this parent welcome swallow feeding their two young. I relate that as humans. The first one's getting fed, but look at its sibling. It's squawking. What about me? When am I going to get fed? It knows it's going to get fed, but right now it's having a tantrum. It's having a child tantrum saying, you're feeding my sibling, you're not feeding me. This is what I love. It just makes me laugh. Another factor of wildlife photography is we see a bird and we think like, well, why does that bird have such a big bill? Or why is the neck of an egret so long? When you're not into wildlife photography, these are all questions that you don't know. Why is an egret's neck so long? Take a look at this stone curlew. Look how big the beak is. You might be thinking, I wonder why the stone curlew's beak is so big, because right beside there's an egret, and the egret's bill is so skinny and so long. Why is this bird about the same size? It's got such a big beak. Look at this next photo here. What's it eating? Soldier crabs. Soldier crabs are very strong. They are very tough, very hard to break. This is one of the reasons that this stone curlew has a big beak, because it needs the crushing power to break up the soldier crabs so it can have a feed. A couple of months ago, I was walking down a local park just with my camera, and I saw this rainbow lorikeet, and it was just snoozing away. And you can see that in this photo here. Look at this photo here now. It heard a noise, and its first reaction was to squawk. How? Wow, you scared me. Sometimes the planets align, everything aligned. You get something that you always wish you could get, but you know that the chances of the planets lining up right then when you're out there are very slim. Look at this osprey here. It's bringing in a very large dead branch because they're starting to build their nest for the nesting season, and they always replenish up the sticks. This is why you see their nests are quite big. Why? Because every year they build it up. I didn't go to Osprey House on that day to photograph that bird. I just went there just to chill out. There was quite a few waders around, and all of a sudden I saw the osprey coming, and I looked at it thinking like, oh, grabbed the camera, pointed up to it. The sun is lighting up its body, wings outstretched, and holding this big branch. Amazing. And that just made my day. A while later, when I knew the chicks had hatched, they were growing up, so I went back there and I was just hoping to see or photograph an osprey coming back in with a fish to feed its young. And again, the planets lined up and I got this photo of an osprey coming in with a fish. Now here's the last photo for this video. It is an adult male leaden flycatcher with one of its chicks. I didn't even notice that they were there. I had been concentrating on a grand fantail that had caught a dragonfly, and I'd gotten a couple of photos of it and just watching it, how it was sort of beating it, breaking it up so it could have a feed. Then all of a sudden I heard this commotion and I looked up, and no more than about 10 meters away from me, I saw these two birds here. The sky was just blue that day. There was no branches around, which when photographing wildlife, especially birds, a lot of time there's a lot of background that's very annoying, it's very distracting, but here there was just nothing in the background, and it was just beautiful. This typifies why I am addicted to wildlife photography. Are you addicted to wildlife photography? Let me know in the comments. Tell me what made you get addicted to wildlife photography. I'd really like to know. If you enjoyed the video, give it a big thumbs up, stay safe, enjoy wildlife photography, and I'll see you next time.